Hey there! Welcome to the 47th Easy JavaScript tutorial, part of easyprogramming.net. In the last tutorial, I gave you a brief introduction to what Ajax is and showed you a couple of quick examples at the end. Today we're going to cover one of those examples and create a very basic Ajax event on your web page. In this example, you will click a button and using Ajax, your web page will update with content located in another file. So the one thing you'll need to know about Ajax is that you can only run this on a web server. So you can't open this file, like this index.html file, on your browser directly and try it out. It won't work. That's why I am using Brackets. Brackets is not a full-blown IDE, but it does have certain components such as a live preview. What happens with live preview is that when I click on it, I already have it open, it creates a little web server on your local host, so it'll use your local IP, which is 127.0.0.1, assign a random port, and open it as if it was a web server. So you can use this to run Ajax, you can use it to run PHP, as well as other simpler, pretty simple server-side scripts. So Brackets makes it pretty easy. You can use any other IDE you want. You can even set up a web server if you want using XAMPP or WAMP or LAMP or whatever you like using. Or you can even upload your files to an actual web server on the web and try it there. So what you have in front of you is the example I showed last time, is where you clicked on a couple of these buttons, you grabbed information located in one of these files, either hello.txt or info.json. Info.json is something I'll cover in the next tutorial. Hello.txt is a simple text file. We'll include some HTML in a little bit. When I clicked on grab hello, it pulled in this text from this text file and displayed it on my HTML web page. We use the network inspector in our element inspector in our browser to see this XHR event, XML HTTP request. So when I clicked on grab hello, this updated and we saw that it was working. But it's not working now because we're going to write that code. So this is the HTML that I have set up. It's very basic. It has a title, a little bit of styling. I am linking to my script.js using the script tag, and just some basic HTML. The three things you'll need to remember is the get text, get JSON, and the content div IDs, because we'll be referring to them in the script.js file. Get JSON will be done in the next tutorial. So in our script.js file, remember in the Onload tutorial I told you that you need to wait for everything, your DOM to load before you can start scripting. Otherwise, since your script is loading above here, above your actual content, it won't actually be able to grab the div. So I started off with window.onload function. So let's start and do this. So we'll do var get text equals to document.get element by ID get txt. So I'm storing the button here, button ID grab hello, into my script.js. What I can actually do is do a little vertical split, and in the right column I can I'll do a horizontal split, and then I'll put my index.html file on the column here so you can see the actual HTML here. So next thing I want to do is store the content div into a variable, make it easy for ourselves. So the var, let's call it content, just keep it simple, document.get element by ID content. Remember what I said in the last tutorial is that you need three things to do an Ajax request. First thing you need to do is create a new XML HTTP request object. So we'll do var, we'll call it XHR, short for XML HTTP request, equals to new, and then XML HTTP request. The thing I like about Brackets is that it does auto-complete for you. That's all. So now XHR is a new Ajax object, XML HTTP request. So we have that done. The other two things you will need to do is you need to open the hello.txt file and send the request. So we'll do this. So we'll do xhr.open. I'm skipping a few steps on purpose for those of you who already know a little bit of Ajax. We're using the get method, not post. We'll open hello.txt, no path included because it's in the same folder. And then we'll do true because it's we want to do it asynchronously. And then we'll do xhr.send. There we go. Pretty straightforward. I'll save it. I'll open my web browser here. I'll click open, and there you go. So what happened? When I clicked on this, it loaded these two as a regular document and script, and then it already triggered my XHR, hello.txt. So when I grab it, nothing's really happening with it, so we need to do something with it. And that's the reason I actually skipped a couple of steps, which should normally go here in between creating the Xmlhttprequest object and opening the file that we want to see. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we capture the event of clicking the get text button. So we'll do get text add event listener. We'll do click function. Let's close this, and then we want to do something to it. Do something after the button is clicked. So we'll do xhr.add event listener. It's because we want to listen for an event called the ready state change. So remember, I mentioned that you need to make sure that something changes, that the ready state changes to a 4, so that we know that the request went through successfully and then we're getting a response back. We'll do function. So ready state change is an actual event that you can listen for. You can also do xhr.onReadyStateChange, which is also which is an event handler, where I'm using an event listener on purpose. Close this, and we want to do content.innerHTML equals to this dot response text. There we go. So explaining this. So the content is our content div here, located here, and we're going to change the inner HTML to the response text of this XHR object. I can also do xhr.response text. May not work as we want it to. It's just saying that after this is done, this is going to post the response text. Response text is a property, it's not a method, so you don't need the open and close parentheses. And for more information on the this keyword, I recommend that you watch that tutorial, which I will link to in the description below. So let's review the code. This looks pretty complete. We have our two div IDs in two different variables. We have our new Xmlhttprequest object. We are listening for a button click. After the button click, we're listening for a ready state change of the XHR open. And we're changing the content div with the response text that we're receiving. Now, I did make a mistake here, and that's we can't send the XHR request before the event is listened to. So we want to do is cut and paste it here, because we want the open and the send methods to be triggered after the click event is listened to. Otherwise, we'll have a situation like this where it loads as soon as the page loads, and that's not what we want. So let's save this. You can do Control S, I'll do save, go back here, clear this out, and if I click open or refresh, it loads the index.html and script.js, but it did not load the hello.txt. It won't load it until I click on grab hello, and look what happens. There you go. Hello.txt loaded via XHR. The status is 200, and it changed the content of my content div ID with hello world from easyprogramming.net. Pretty straightforward, right? One last thing before we close out this tutorial and go to the next one is, remember last time I said that you can also send HTML to via Ajax. So for example, if I do a little quick h1 tag here, make it a header, I can send this as an HTML file. So let's go back here. If I refresh this, all I see is h1.h1 because it's just a text file. It's not an HTML file. But in our code, we are, in our script.js, we are doing an inner HTML replace of the response text, which is coming in as an HTML code from our text file, even though it's a text file. So if I click on refresh and grab hello, you can see that the hello world is has the h1 tag applied to it. So if I inspect that, you can see that the h1 is indeed in the tag. So now grab hello works. I can click on it as many times as I want, and in the network tab, it just keeps calling it and calling it. It's not appending it because I did n equal to and not plus equal to or equals plus. Grab user does not work. It does not do anything. It's because that's what we're going to cover in the next tutorial, where I'll show you how you can grab JSON data, whether it's from a JSON file in your server or you're grabbing it from an external location via an API call, how to grab that data, parse it, and display it in a neat, readable format. Not saying that JSON isn't readable. If you have any questions about this tutorial or Ajax in general, please ask in the comments below. I will also mention that when we cover jQuery later on, Ajax becomes much easier because everything is done in just it's more smooth. It's much smoother than it is here in this tutorial in just regular JavaScript, because that's what jQuery is supposed to do. It consolidates everything and makes it more streamlined. Well, if you have any questions, please ask. Remember to visit easyprogramming.net for more tutorials. Stay tuned for the next one. Should be coming up in about a week. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.